Hello and welcome to our special broadcast, GST Centimeter. I'm Timsy Jaipuria. The GST is now on a cusp where Prime Minister calls next generation GST reforms. Speaking from the ramparts of the Red Fort on the 15th of August, the Prime Minister promised that the reforms would be a double Diwali gift. We learn from sources that the centre is looking at a two-slab structure of 5% and 18%. It also proposes that several items which it refers to as aspirational middle-class items be moved from the higher 28% to 18% slab. A group of ministers constituted by the GST Council is scheduled to meet on 21st of August. Remember, the GST Council, which has members from across all states and union territories, is the final deciding authority on all matters related to GST. Before we discuss the reforms proposed by the Prime Minister, here's an excerpt of his speech on the Independence Day.
इस दिवाली में आपकी डबल दिवाली का काम मैं करने वाला हूं। इस दिवाली में आपको एक बहुत बड़ा तोहफा देशवासियों को मिलने वाला है। पिछले 8 साल से हमने जीएसटी का बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म किया। पूरे देश में टैक्स के बर्डन को कम किया, टैक्स की व्यवस्थाओं को सरल किया और 8 साल के बाद समय की मांग है कि हम एक बार उसको रिव्यू करें। हमने एक हाई पावर कमेटी को बिठा करके रिव्यू शुरू किया, राज्यों से भी विचार विमर्श किया और मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हम नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स लेकर के आ रहे हैं। ये दिवाली के अंदर आपके लिए तोहफा बन जाएंगे।
The Prime Minister there claiming that a high-powered committee set up to look into GST reforms have consulted states as well. So, how is the proposed GST landscape looking like? We have Vivek Jory and Najib Shah, both former chairmen of the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, join us. Harpal Singh Cheema, Punjab's Finance Minister and senior Aam Aadmi Party leader with us. Roland Landers, CEO of All India Gaming Federation, also with us. A very warm welcome, gentlemen. Let me first begin with Harpal Singh Cheema. Sir, when we talk about the way Prime Minister made his statement, it looked like it is a done deal. Centre is understood to have circulated a proposal of shifting to a two-slab structure, 5% and 18%. Also on the agenda, a 40% slab for sin goods. How do you think it looks like? What are your comments?
देखिए, लगभग 8 साल पहले जीएसटी रजीम आई थी। उससे पहले राज्यों में अपना अपना टैक्स रजीम था और जीएसटी आने के बाद कुछ राज्यों को बहुत बड़ा लॉस हुआ और कुछ राज्यों को इसका बहुत बड़ा फायदा हुआ। हम तो पहले से डिमांड करते थे कि इसमें स्ट्रक्चरल चेंज होनी चाहिए। इसकी 5 स्टेजेस हैं और 5 स्लैब्स हैं। उसमें बहुत सारा टेक्निकलिटीज हैं और हर रोज देखिए जैसे आईटीसी में लगभग 2 लाख करोड़ का तो उसमें एम्बेजलमेंट हो जाता है हर एक साल आईटीसी रिटर्न में। तो जितने भी जीवन बने हुए हैं, हम उन जिसमें भी हम मेंबर हैं उसमें हम यही आवाज उठाते हैं कि इसमें स्ट्रक्चरल चेंज होनी चाहिए और स्लैब जो है वो कम होनी चाहिए ताकि लोग ज्यादा से ज्यादा टैक्स की कंप्लायंस कर सकें। यदि पंजाब जो है देश भर में पहले 3 राज्यों में आता है जहां टैक्स कंप्लायंस सबसे ज्यादा है, पर लेकिन फिर भी हम जो हमारा टैक्स रजीम जीएसटी से पहले था उससे कम ग्रोथ कर रहे हैं, उससे कम हमारा ग्रोथ हो रहा है। लगभग बहुत बड़ा लॉस जो है वो स्टेट को हो रहा है। पहले तो जीएसटी 5 साल तो कंपनसेशन मिला हमें 14% की ग्रोथ से 14% ग्रोथ से हमें जीएसटी कंपनसेशन मिला, पर लेकिन अब जून जो है 2022 से वो बंद है, तो उसके बंद होने के बाद तो हमें बहुत प्रॉब्लम आ रही है। तो हमारा मानना है कि बिल्कुल इसको और सिंप्लीफाई करना होगा और जीएम जो चाहे इंश्योरेंस का है, कंपनसेशन सेस का है, रेट रैशनलाइजेशन कमेटी बनी हुई है, जीएम बना हुआ है, तो इन सभी को मैं समझता हूँ एक साथ लेके काम करना चाहिए। आई थिंक मैडम निर्मला सीतारमण जी इस मीटिंग में खुद जो है वो अपना पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं। 20 तारीख को 20 अगस्त को हमारी मीटिंग है दिल्ली में, तो उसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं। लगता है कुछ अच्छा होगा और देश के वासियों के लिए ठीक होगा। और इसमें सबसे बड़ी बात है कि स्टेट की जो फाइनेंशियल हेल्थ है उसको ध्यान में रखना होगा, क्योंकि स्टेट की फाइनेंशियल हेल्थ काफी ज्यादा स्टेटों की, चाहे वो कर्नाटका है, चाहे वो केरला है, चाहे वो बांग्लादेश है, सॉरी वेस्ट बंगाल है, चाहे पंजाब है, बहुत सारे राज्यों में स्टेट की जो फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन है वो अच्छी नहीं है। क्योंकि जब से जीएसटी आया तो हमारा जीएसटी कलेक्शन, जैसे हमारा जीएसटी से पहले वाली जो हमारा सिस्टम था, जो हमारा बैट था, एक्साइज था, जैसे उसमें बढ़ोतरी हो रही थी, जो है जीएसटी में नहीं हो रही। 14% जब 14% का कंपनसेशन बंद हुआ है, तो मैं समझता हूँ बहुत सारे स्टेटों की दिक्कत आ रही है, क्योंकि जीएसटी जो है वो डेस्टिनेशन बेस्ड टैक्स है, वो डेस्टिनेशन बेस्ड टैक्स है, कंजम्पशन बेस्ड टैक्स है। सो जो बड़े राज्य हैं जैसे यूपी है, बिहार है, उनको तो फायदा होता है, पर लेकिन जैसे पंजाब है, पंजाब प्रोडक्शन स्टेट है, पंजाब एक एग्रीकल्चर स्टेट है, हमारा जो एग्रीकल्चर पे एक सेस लगा हुआ था पंजाब में, उसको भी सब्स्यूम कर दिया गया था। जो परचेज टैक्स था हमारा एक, उसमें कम से कम हमें 7,000 करोड़ रुपया पर ईयर आता था, वो सब्स्यूम हो गया, तो उसका बड़ा लॉस हो गया। क्योंकि हमारी तो प्रोडक्शन क्या है, धान की प्रोडक्शन है, हमारी तो वीट की प्रोडक्शन है, हम देश को देश के जो नेशनल फूड बाउल है उसमें सबसे बड़ा हिस्सा डालते हैं, पर लेकिन ये सब्स्यूम होने के बाद हम लॉस में चले गए। तो मैं समझता हूँ सभी का एनालिसिस होना चाहिए। जब स्ट्रक्चरल चेंज हो रहा है तो सभी राज्यों के जितने भी राज्य हैं उनका जो उनको कितना लॉस हुआ, उनको कितना फायदा हुआ, कितना उनको प्रॉफिट हुआ, भाई सब कुछ इसकी जो बैलेंस शीट है वो देश के सामने होनी चाहिए। उसके बाद चर्चा के बाद इसमें बड़े बदलाव होने चाहिए।
तो आप कह रहे हैं कि बदलाव अच्छे हैं, लेकिन स्टेट्स के रेवेन्यू को लेके जो कंसर्न आपने बताया कि बहुत सारे राज्य आज भी घाटे में हैं, घाटे में राज्य चला रहे हैं, उनको कितना प्रोटेक्शन मिलेगा? ये नए स्लैब से आपको कुछ लगता है कि 5 और 18% काफ़ी रहेंगे राज्यों के घाटों को पूरा करने के लिए? क्योंकि पहले तो रेवेन्यू राज्य के हाथ में था, अब जीएसटी के बाद एक कंबाइंड एफर्ट आ गया है, डेस्टिनेशन बेस्ड टैक्स है, कंजम्पशन बेस्ड टैक्स है, जहां पे कंजम्पशन ज़्यादा है वहां ज़्यादा है, और अब कॉम्पनसेशन सेस भी नहीं है, और अब तो बैक टू बैक लोन्स का पेमेंट भी खत्म हो रहा है। सेस पे भी कमेटी बनी हुई है कि ये सेस को सब्स्यूम करके कैसे आगे बढ़ना चाहिए। अगर ये सेंटर का प्रपोजल 5%, 18% और 40%, आपको लगता है ये काफ़ी रहेगा राज्यों को उनके रेवेन्यूज मीट करने के लिए?
देखिए टिम्सी जी, मैं वही बात आपको बताने वाला था कि अक्टूबर में जो है, जो लोन था, जो कंपनसेशन पे लोन लिया हुआ था, वो उसका वो मैं समझता रीपे हो जाएगा, उसका खात्मा हो जाएगा। और जो हमारा जीओएम कंपनसेशन सेस पे बना हुआ है, उसने मैंडेट दिया है और नोटिफिकेशन भी जारी हुआ है कि मार्च 26 तक ये कंपनसेशन सेस जो है कंटिन्यू रहना चाहिए। तो मैं समझता हूं कि कंपनसेशन सेस जो है वो आने वाले समय में भी रहना चाहिए, ताकि जिन राज्यों का रेवेन्यू लॉस हो रहा है, उन राज्यों की भरपाई जो है, उन राज्यों का लॉस जो है कंपनसेशन सेस से पूरा किया जाए। उनको जब हमारी कंप्लायंस, देखिए पंजाब की कंप्लायंस 100% है, हम पहले 3 राज्यों में आते हैं, पर फिर भी हमारा रेवेन्यू जो जीएसटी रिजीम से पहले वाली हमारी रिजीम थी, जो हमारी ओल्ड रिजीम थी, उसमें से कम आ रहा है। हम देश के साथ खड़े हैं, 1 नेशन 1 टैक्स की थ्योरी पे पंजाब ने एक्सेप्ट किया, पर लेकिन पंजाब अल्टीमेटली लॉस में चला गया। और मैं देख रहा था कर्नाटका के फिगर, कर्नाटका लॉस में चला जा रहा है, केरला लॉस में चला जा रहा है, तो और भी अन्य राज्य हैं जो लॉस में चले जा रहे हैं। तो मेरा मानना है कि कंपनसेशन सेस के रूप में या अदर कोई मेथड जो है अडॉप्ट करना चाहिए। जितना लॉस हो रहा है स्टेटों को, उस लॉस को पूरा करने की जिम्मेदारी जो है वो सेंट्रल सरकार की होनी चाहिए, केंद्र सरकार की होनी चाहिए। बिल्कुल हम चाहते हैं बदलाव होना चाहिए, क्योंकि स्ट्रक्चर चेंज होना चाहिए जीएसटी में, पर लेकिन उन राज्यों का जहां लॉस हो रहा है उनको कैसे हम पूरा कर पाएंगे, उस लॉस को हम कैसे मीट कर पाएंगे, इसका प्रपोजल भी आना चाहिए। क्योंकि पहले ही हम तो लॉस में हैं, तो आने वाले समय में और लॉस में चलेंगे, तो स्टेटों की इकोनॉमी जो है गड़बड़ा जाएगी। तो मेरा मानना है कि देश एक फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर है, इस फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर में देश के सभी राज्यों ने जीएसटी को अडॉप्ट किया, वन नेशन वन टैक्स की थ्योरी को अडॉप्ट किया। तो अब मैं समझता हूँ सेंट्रल को जो कंपनसेशन सेस था, या तो उसको कंटिन्यू कीजिए या नया मेथड अपनाइए कि जिस स्टेट की जीएसटी कलेक्शन कम हो रही है उसकी कैसे जो है उसको कैसे मीट किया जाए, उसको कैसे भरपाई की जाए, इस पे भी हमें मैं समझता हूँ सोच लेना चाहिए, ताकि देश के सभी राज्य जो है उनको प्रॉपर अपनी डेवलपमेंट करने के प्रॉपर जो है मौके मिल सके, उनको अपना काम।
आप कह रहे हैं कि होलिस्टिक डिस्कशन होना चाहिए, राज्यों के रेवेन्यू को लेके भी बात होनी चाहिए, जैसा कि हरपाल सिंह चीमा कह रहे थे। एंड नाउ वी हैव विवेक जौहरी विद अस। सर, यू वर वन ऑफ द recent ones to be present at the GST Council when we are speaking to the guests here. So do you think, as per your experience of the GST Council, do you think such a proposal with this sort of a vast change will be an easy task when it comes to convincing the states? As Mr. Chima was pointing out, states' revenue protection, states' revenue, when it comes to the current situation of revenue where states are already running into losses, do you think it is the right time to bite this bullet of coming down to two slab structure and keeping only one rate of 40% as the sin good slab?
Thank you, Timsy. And I think the Honorable Finance Minister of Punjab has summed it up very well. So I think the package that the centre has proposed at this stage, and we must recognize it is a package which is the centre's vision of what GST should look like. But it's so attractive and bold that I think it's difficult for any person who knows well about GST and who understands its nuances to sort of scuttle it or to dismiss it outright. But of course, revenue is a big concern. Overall, I can say if you do a back of the envelope calculation, and if you go by reports that have emerged about the rate of 12% going to 5%, and some of the items from 28%, in fact, majority of items from 28% going to 18%. If you were to do a back of the envelope calculation, and I'd share some numbers with you, it seems to suggest that the overall package is revenue balanced. So I think care has been taken in drawing up the proposal to ensure that the package is overall either slightly revenue positive, or in any case, it will not cause an immediate loss of revenue. Because just to quote numbers, so the 28% slab, Timsy, gives you about 11% of the GST revenue. So if you were to convert that into numbers, then it turns out that the 28% slab would give you something of the order of 2,26,000 crores per year. And the overall GST revenue, let's say for 24-25, being about 20.56 lakh crores. So if you were to assume half of this, or even more than half of this were to drop to 18%, and the balance were to go up from 28 to 40%, which is what we know of at the moment, then overall, it's not a revenue-losing proposition. In fact, there may be a marginal revenue gain. And likewise, the 12% bracket gives you a revenue of about 5%, which converts in numbers to about 1,02,000 crore, roughly. Now, if you were to drop the 12% rate to 5%, then you have a revenue loss of roughly about 60,000 crore is my calculation. But overall, the package is balanced in terms of revenue numbers. Of course, how it will pan out from state to state, like the Honorable Finance Minister from Punjab has said, it will depend on whether it's a majorly consuming, importing or an exporting state. And so it will pan out differently for different states. I'm not sure whether a solution is possible directly through the GST route in providing solace to states that are likely to not see an equally robust rate of growth. Of course, one of the missing links right now is the recommendations of the GOM on compensation cess. We do not know in what form and shape the compensation cess will morph into based on the recommendations of the GOM. But the proposal, I think, will definitely be a very attractive one from the overall point of view of GST reform. It will lead to lesser disputes in GST. It will simplify matters for business. And because there's a reduction proposed in so many commodities and sectors, it's going to be a good counterbalance to the stresses that some of the sectors are facing owing to, the international trade profile and changes, Trump tariffs and all of that, particularly labor-intensive sectors like ready-made garments, footwear, leather, marine food products, gems and jewelry. Of course, gems and jewelry are not covered by specifically mentioned
This
in the
particular
rate
rate
rationalization.
changes. Yeah, same.
The rest of the sectors, at least, what one can gather is that they will witness a reduction in rate, which will definitely boost domestic demand and provide some solace to these sectors. So I think overall, to sum up, the rate structure that is being proposed is balanced, it's bold, and it will simplify things to a great extent. Whether all states will be equally benefited in terms of revenue growth, I'm not so sure. But then there are ways and means available. First of all, the GST compensation cess, the fate of that is not known yet.
I'll take the cue from here. Ways and means are there. I'll break you here. I'll take the cue from here. Ways and means are there to compensate the states who could be losing in this particular rationalization if it goes ahead. Getting in Najib Shah there. So as Vivek Johri pointed out, back of the envelope calculation says that it could be revenue neutral, rather in some cases, especially when it comes to the sin goods, which are being moved from 28% plus cess to 40%, it could be even revenue surplus. Do you think that these calculations actually pose a smooth path for the GST Council to move ahead? What do you think are the concerns that the Council might face when they try and move ahead on this particular proposal, which has been moved by the centre?
I think the Council will, number one, get overwhelmed by the sheer audacity of the proposal, because everybody has been seeking a reduction in slabs. I don't think anybody expected this sort of dramatic announcements coming from Red Fort. So, they would be overwhelmed by the sheer audacity. They would need to be assured that revenue will continue to be similar or same as it was till now, because the reduction in the rates would suggest that there can be a possible impact. But I'm sure the centre has done its calculations, and like Vivek pointed out, if the 18% slab, which is the maximum revenue giver, continues where it is, and we have some goods moving down from the 28 towards 18 and 28 towards 40 moving up, so that should offset. These are numbers which the state, in the states participating in the council's meeting, would certainly need to be assured about, and only then they can go forward. The compensation cess, I think, with due respect to the Honourable Minister, has to come to an end. We have to find other ways of compensating the states, if at all the states need to be compensated, based on the calculations and the numbers which can emerge in the council's meeting.
I'll also take one more question with you here.
Yes.
I'll also take one more question with you here. There is also what government sources are indicating, that the tax incidence when it comes to products like tobacco products, tax incidence would remain the same. If compensation says, as we all know, it has to end, there is a sunset. If not October this year, March 26 is the deadline. How will the tax incidence how will it remain the same? Is it that the government has the power to levy over and above some outside the GST, some sort of additional levy which will keep the tax incidence same? Because 40% in some categories right now, 28% plus cess, it inches up much higher than 40%. What do you think is available, the window that is available with the centre on such categories where they want to keep tax incidence the same so that, as Mr. Jory said, back of the envelope calculations will make them revenue neutral?
Look, 40% is a limit which they will definitely like to touch in respect of all these goods. And perhaps in respect of cigarettes and tobaccos, we had multiple other levies which are going into, including central excise. So I think tobacco may be a different kettle of fish altogether. But in respect of other commodities, I think their hands will be tied and it will be a challenge. So I really believe that the states will need a lot of assurances on numbers because at the end of the day, like the Honorable Minister did mention, that's a matter of concern for very many states who would like to see that these two slabs do not impact their revenue, more so since it involves moving a lot of commodities away from 12 to 5 and 28 to 18.
Also, another commodity there, or rather a service to be precise, online gaming, which has been already facing a lot of troubles. I have Roland Landers with me from All India Gaming Federation. Roland, do you think this 40% after 28% and the resentment towards letting 28% kick in, now that 28% has stabilized, now a 40%, what are the concerns? How well are these concerns placed within the industry when they heard that government sources indicating that the next rate on this particular item, this particular service could be 40%?
Thanks, Timsy, for having me. Honored to be here. I just break this up into about 3-4 parts. Firstly, on the contribution and potential of the sector. As you are aware, this is one of the fastest growing digital sectors, and contributing to technology innovation, jobs, and also attracting investments. From a GST perspective itself, it is contributing close to 15,000 crores annually. And going by the user base, India is one of the largest markets for online skill gaming. And this could be, if supported by a stable policy framework, it could become a $20+ billion industry. Now, as you're aware of the tax framework and the impact, GST is being levied for this sector on the not on the actual revenue, but on the actual revenue being platform fee or GGR, but on the deposits, which is a departure, so to say, from how other industries are taxed. And going by certain reports, on the 28% on deposits has caused immense stress on the revenue bottom lines of the company. In some cases, a reduction of almost 45%. Now, why should online gaming be treated differently? For physical goods, consumers cannot simply at a click of a button, switch to an untaxed foreign alternative. But in online gaming, because it is a digital good, it's borderless and can be substituted instantly, players can switch to offshore operators who in any case don't pay GST and actually promote themselves as a no tax advantage. So if you look at certain reports, 80% of Indian gamer fraternity who's playing on the offshore sites. So that evasion, the current evasion by these offshore platforms itself more than the size of the Indian online skill gaming industry, which is close to $3.5 billion. So the way forward, one could state that going by international best practices, the right approach would be a rational taxation and strong regulation, and we've made immense progress. The 2023 amendments to the international intermediary guidelines and states such as Tamil Nadu, the Tanoga, which was set up, they are mandating age verification, deposit limits, self-exclusion, transparency. Now, all of this, if this is embedded into a national kind of a framework, And that will give the Indian online skill gaming companies a level playing field against the offshore operators. In summation, I would say that global examples show that online skill gaming must be treated differently as a digital good and borderless in nature. And that's why rational taxation and strong safeguards at a national level will protect the Indian gaming companies.
So you demand a rational taxation rate, but rational taxation, and that too for skill gaming sector, we must understand that there is no distinction that the government has made till now, be it game of skill or games of chance. They're all treated the same. So that is something that the industry is has cautioned that there should be a rational, stable taxation, and yes, differentiation between games of skills and games of chance at a different tax rate. Adopting the global best practices can only safeguard and growth of this sector, which will also lead to the growth in the revenues. My last question to Harpal Singh Cheema. Sir, do you think, क्या आपको लगता है कि राज्यों का इस डिसीजन को लेना बहुत आसान होगा, चाहे वो बीजेपी रूल्ड स्टेट्स हो, चाहे वो ऑपोजिशन रूल्ड स्टेट्स हो, चाहे वो कांग्रेस हो, चाहे आम आदमी पार्टी हो? आपको क्या लगता है ये प्रपोजल जीएसटी काउंसिल में कितनी आसानी से क्लियर हो सकता है या कितनी मुश्किलों से क्लियर हो सकता है? Well, I think we dropped that line with him. Mr. Jory, do you think how smooth this decision will be in the council? Will it be a smooth sail or will it be a tough road to crack?
See, Timsy, I feel that there will be a lot of discussion on the proposal in the council, particularly when it comes to reslotting, goods or services from a particular rate to another rate, because it will depend on what political philosophy you're coming from, and how you view that reduction, how you view that particular category of goods or services. For example, there could be debates about what you would treat as aspirational goods, what you would treat as luxury items. Sin goods, of course, fortunately, I think there is a fair amount of consensus on what they constitute. So the proposal will definitely go through a lot of discussion in the council. But as I said, it is difficult to sort of outright reject it because of its boldness and the simplification that it promises, to taxpayers. And definitely, it will also be a boost to, revenue productivity of the system. So I think, and it's only healthy that it should be discussed. And, when we are reslotting certain items from, a higher rate to a lower rate, there would be discussion around that. But I think overall,
Mr. Jory, I'll stop you here. We have Mr. Cheema back with us. Sir, आपको क्या लगता है कितना आसान होगा इस डिसीजन को काउंसिल में पास करवाना, चाहे वो बीजेपी रूल्ड राज्य हो, चाहे वो नॉन बीजेपी रूल्ड राज्य हो? क्या सबकी सहमति बन पाएगी बहुत आसानी से इस बोल्ड प्रपोजल पे?
देखिए, सहमति
I think we dropped the line there. So just thanking all the guests, Mr. Najib Shah, Mr. Vivek Jory, Roland and Harpal Singh Cheema joining us on this special broadcast of GST Centimeter, where we discuss the proposal that is believed to have circulated by the centre to the states, moving to a 2-slab structure from a current 4-slab structure, folding in a lot of taxes, higher rates, and yes, bringing in more simplification, ending up the classification matters, and yes, GST 2.0, the big bold reforms, coming up with a Diwali boost is what, as Prime Minister said, a big Diwali bonanza. Let's see how soon these proposals actually make up for a reality. Very thanks for watching this show. We'll be back in a moment.